Hello and welcome to another episode of Barrel Banter, the show where we gather around after a long day's work, have a glass or two of whiskey, talk about it, and anything else that comes to mind. My name's Chris.
I'm Craig.
I'm John.
And I'm Caleb.
Today we got a bottle of Coldcock. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because they run, at least in Southern California, a viral campaign where they would put up illegal billboards along the roads and the freeways. So I've been interested in it, but we'll see.
Yeah, a lot of different marketing, we'll say. Mm-hmm. It's a different kind of company. I mean, they're main investors and promoters. It's like a mixed bag of people and bands in the music industry, and we're talking like heavy metal. That Kerry King from Slayer.
Yeah, I was gonna
involved.
And this is kind of how you and I got turned on to this.
Yeah, I mean, there's tattoo artists, athletes. So it's an interesting group of people who are involved in this in one way or another.
Yeah, we're quite the music aficionados, and this was something that kept popping up on bands' social media feeds, and I saw it in a couple magazines, like Hard Rock and so it definitely has it's going for a very specific demographic.
Yes, I believe they sponsor or at least like sub-sponsor a lot of events, especially concerts and festivals and things.
So tell me a little bit about the distillation. Tell me about where this is distilled and.
Gosh, I think it's actually distilled in Florida, and they use a mix of a lot of different herbs. Some of the ones that they tell you about on their website are like green tea, hibiscus. What else am I smelling?
You're getting a lot of green tea.
Is there some eucalyptus there?
I get some eucalyptus. I get some like curacao orange.
Yes.
Like bitter orange peel.
Yeah. There's a little zestiness to
A little
it.
fennel, maybe.
Right. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. As it warms up a little, I'm getting a little licorice.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure it's just because we had it chilled, but it definitely poured a little bit more syrupy than.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah,
It's like honey almost.
It's only 70 proof, which isn't super low, but it's not a full 80.
Yeah,
and even a high-end vodka, if you keep it in the freezer, it's still
vodka will
syrupy.
get syrupy.
Yeah.
But this has definitely got sugar in it.
And
Really,
everything else.
Quite a bit of sugar in it.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
But the thing is, they claim that they add way less sugar than other flavored liquors.
Well, that would be
Way less.
compared to what? Southern Comfort. Which is good on pancakes.
What do you guys think about the taste?
Very, very sugary.
Yeah.
Sugar.
I'm getting more.
Just straight sugar.
I'm getting herbal kind of at the back of my mouth, and I get a little bitter, but just
It's
massive sugar bomb to me.
Yeah.
I'm getting like total herbal all across the palate from start to finish.
It does taste sweet, but yes, herbal.
It doesn't have as much of a lasting sweetness as I would expect. It's more, it kind of falls away and you're left with just kind of like an herbal. It's just a lot of herbal.
I'm getting a lot of aromatic herbal, the eucalyptus, the orange peel, which they don't really talk about. I know they talk a lot about the green tea, but I'm finding that kind of lost.
Yeah, I can smell it, but maybe it is the hibiscus that I'm tasting.
I almost picture it being like the 1800s, and you're sick, and the doctor gives you a bottle of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would really be good for a sore throat.
So cure what ails you.
Is anyone else getting a little bit of spiciness on the back end?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I get it on the back, and I get bitter on the side of my tongue.
Almost a little black licorice.
If you really roll it around in your mouth, you get a definite bitterness.
How do you pronounce it? Anise? Is that how you
Yeah, I think that's what.
Anise? I don't
That's
know
what
how
I was
to
trying to
pronounce
look
it,
for.
but a little bit of that.
Anise.
And
Anus.
careful.
He said it wrong.
It's not bad. It's just really different. I would barely call this a whiskey.
I
I
would call
wouldn't.
this
I wouldn't call this a
What do
whiskey
they
at
what do
all.
they call this?
It's
American herbal whiskey.
flavored whiskey.
American herbal flavored whiskey.
It reminds me a lot of what Slow and Low
Slow and low.
does.
Yeah.
But
The Horse Shotters Rock and Rye.
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
now that's in a league of its own. obviously.
Yeah, that's a full 80 proof, I think.
Okay.
And it's got a little more bite to it still.
But it reminds me a little bit. It's just
The sweetness of it, the sugariness of it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
but a little more so. This is a little sweeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely this is a lot sweeter.
I
compared
can
to the rock and rye.
I can see why they use this for promote concerts and stuff. Because I mean, if you want to party and you want something that tastes a little different,
You don't
There you
really
go.
need a mixer for this.
yeah.
Oh, no,
I mean,
this
I
is-
would take this over Jaeger bombs any day.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? It's like people that shoot Fireball, the
Yeah.
cinnamon whiskey. I mean, that thing's straight sugar also.
Yeah.
I don't like that either.
No,
I would
But
hardly call
this,
that
I
whiskey.
mean, I don't know if someone's pouring shots of this at a party or show or something.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes.
So as we move on from the whiskey talk, we're going to kind of pick up on a topic that we were briefly discussing a couple weeks back, and that is digital marketing, specifically video. Now, it's no surprise that video has kind of taken the world by storm in the past 5 years, especially on social media. Now, what I want to kind of discuss here is how best to use that and where and when to distribute your content.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of considerations. It's not so much just snapping a video and throwing it up on Instagram or Facebook. There's a lot of, from aspect ratio to the type of content to duration, there's a whole lot of different things that go into appropriately aggregating your content.
Right. There's a lot of nuances.
Yes.
And as the different social medias grow, there's a very specific audience for each social media. Now, I gave the example in our previous episode of one person that uses multiple different social media platforms, but they'll use them in different ways.
Right.
For instance, I gave this example, Facebook is notorious for people not clicking on the video to initialize the audio. So everything kind of has to be told through the images,
Right.
through what you're seeing. Now, Instagram is a little bit different. People are on there to view, artistic type of posts. They're willing to spend a little bit more time in each post and
Right.
actually initialize the audio. So,
Right. I think we touched on this. The high time for Instagram too is during non-work hours, so people are much more likely to click that audio on.
Yeah.
and knowing kind of the overarching theme to all of this is attention spans. Attention spans are short.
Very short.
They're getting shorter, and it kind of worries me. With platforms like Snapchat and stories that are being implemented to Facebook, and Instagram has had it for a while.
Yeah.
It's like 6 seconds, and you
Yeah.
kind of got to tell your story.
But you know what is interesting? Instagram first started with video with a 15-second limit.
Right.
Now it's up to beyond that.
I remember that.
Same with YouTube originally. This is a completely different platform, but it started with a 10-minute limit, then 15. Now it's infinite. So
Yeah,
it's pretty
and,
interesting.
and what's interesting about YouTube specifically is a year or two ago, a lot of the popularity, a lot of the growth of individual videos was determined by how many views you had and how many likes you had. Now they're considering and almost only considering watch time. So the longer
Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
it does. It does for certain platforms like YouTube, which is a specifically video-driven platform. So the longer you're watching something, the more possibility you have to have that show up for other people.
That makes a lot of
Right.
sense. If people are sitting through your entire 30-minute long video,
Right.
Be
that's
rewarded.
great.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
you-
should be.
A unique click just says that, gee, you got a really good hook at the beginning,
Right.
or a really good lead into it.
Or it's
But,
nice. Yeah,
people
the
watch
thumbnail.
for 10 seconds and go, this is not so good.
Right.
Whereas Facebook kind of takes that approach. They aren't necessarily interested in watch time.
Right.
It plays a facet within the algorithm, but it's what is it, like the first 3 seconds?
3 seconds.
3 seconds
Wow.
counts as a
3
view,
That is short.
which is interesting.
But it's also because when you're using Facebook, you're scrolling through the content versus on YouTube, where if you see something you like, you click
Yeah.
into it, and it's its own dedicated video instead of kind of scrolling through the entire
Yeah,
thing.
it's not embedded in something else.
Right.
That's a good point.
As far as actual posts on Instagram, not stories, I've noticed where sometimes I will have 300 likes on a video and it says I have 43 views.
Right, I've noticed that too. I don't know if that's a thing
what's
where it's
going on
catching
there?
up, where like, you know, the view count isn't registering as quickly as, say, the like count, but I see that, you know, day in, day out on my personal posts, on our company posts, on our client posts, it's the same way.
That's very strange.
Yeah.
And another thing is that I'm seeing a lot more of, especially with brands and companies and agencies that are leveraging as much social media platforms as possible, is maximizing that one specific piece of content. So, for example, Gary Vaynerchuk, he does a daily or bi-daily vlog, if you will. It's very well produced, so it's not just him. He's got someone else doing it with him. But what he'll do, once he has this 20-minute long vlog, right, that he puts on YouTube, he'll take little snippets of it, little 60-second, 15-second snippets of the finished video and put it up on Instagram.
Makes sense.
And he just, you know, he's able to leverage that one piece of content amongst many platforms for, you know, a couple days on end. So that's another trend that I'm seeing grow, and that's something that we've been doing for a while to maximize the content that we produce for our clients.
Well, if you're doing content that's more produced, like what we do, you kind of have to do that.
Yeah.
You could take that one masterpiece, hey.
Yeah, there you
Every one of ours is a masterpiece. that one master video, I should say, and then use it, make it into chunks for people
Right.
that have a 15-second attention span, people that need to see the full 2 minutes.
Right.
And yet still have it all work and be coherent.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where a good editor comes into play.
Right.
That's a whole other topic of
That's him.
discussion for another day. So as we wrap up here, is there any final thoughts on Coldcock or the topic at hand?
If we were 25 years old and partying,
I would
I'd
go.
say let's get a case of this.
Yeah, 25, 22,
I would go a little
1,
like 21, 22.
19,
college years.
18.
Because 25, you're kind of out of that.
My generation, it took us a little longer to
I was
age.
just trying to say,
You know what,
my
my
generation, we were
generation,
moving beyond
we're
this by
still
about
in it,
19.
there's
So,
that.
Well, okay.
Well, I mean, I personally probably would never buy this
no.
for myself, but I mean, I can see the appeal. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
said, they're going for a niche.
Yeah.
It's marketed for a purpose and it serves that purpose. So,
And
go
this
guys.
might be
Possibly
the
a
first
cold,
one.
snowy night camping
that
around a
could-
campfire, maybe.
I could see that.
Place where you would have this, or
Put it in your tea.
a Southern Comfort, or a Yukon Jack, or
Yeah.
a number of those
Yeah.
sweet whiskey-based liqueurs. Because it's really a liqueur. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's a liqueur. It's not a whiskey.
Right.
Okay.
Well, cheers. I'm not going to
Cheers.
finish this, but cheers either way.
Thanks again for joining us
Come on,
for
it's a
another
dare.
episode, and we'll catch you next week.